Aboro Aboye. Today I want to chat about OrisaLifestyle for beginners, um, particularly on the subject of does Ifa work and is it right? Is it factual? Okay. And this tends to be the conversation around, folks will say, well, Ifa is a science, but Ifa is not a science. There's science in Ifa, but it's not a science. Okay. Um, just like there is religion in Ifa, but Ifa is not a religion. There are politics in Ifa, but Ifa is not politics. There's history in Ifa, but Ifa is not history. And the moment you try to reduce it down to one of those things that really pertain to the Western mindset, one of the disciplines that come out of the Western worldview, then you diminish um, your ability to understand and practice Ifa to the point that it defeats the purpose because you're not practicing Ifa anymore. You're practicing biology in the name of Ifa. You're practicing Islam in the name of Ifa, right? So Ifa is not uh, a science that is concerned with being right and working. Okay, it can be right. It can put you in that, give you factual information, and it can work. It can get you the desired outcomes, but that's not the point. The point is to help you to realize your destiny, which is something that's totally different from being right, and it's totally different from getting what you want, okay, or getting desired outcomes. When we're talking about Ifa as a science, that's code for looking for something that is um, empirical, it's concrete, it's constant, it's universal. Okay, when we say Ifa is a science, we're looking for something that's universal, something that doesn't require any faith, it doesn't require any belief. It just is as you know as universal as the sunrise. It's as universal as gravity. Okay, and there's a, like I said, there's a degree of truth to that, but it isn't the primary lens or the focal point of what Ifa aspires to. When you when you subscribe to this idea that Ifa is a science and that there's some sort of a universal truth, what you're doing inadvertently is you're prioritizing this one story, right? You're going right back into the biblical Semitic mindset. There's one story, okay, and everything that falls in that story is truth and is real and is going to be effective. Everything outside of this story is bad. It's primitive. It's voodoo, right? And even when people say that, like voodoo, Orisha and voodoo are the same thing. There's nothing different except for one cultural expression of it and another, right? There isn't anything inherently inferior about voodoo, right? There isn't anything inherently inferior about Orisha, okay? There isn't anything inherently superior about physics. There isn't anything inherently superior about um, English language, American dollars, Western democracy, right? But we accept English, dollars, democracy, physics, biology, history, um, capitalism, or socialism. We accept those as universals, right? And then anything outside of that, there's something that's inherently inferior to those things. If they don't get the kinds of results and the desired outcomes as defined by physics or history or business, or democracy, then there's something inferior about that process. And that is the epitome of colonization. That is a colonial mentality to the hilt. All right. So it's very, very dangerous to try to reduce Ifa down to a science. It's dangerous to try to limit Ifa to this universalist paradigm. That it has to be something that's universal, and it has to square with physics, and it has to square with astronomy, and it has to square with biology, and the historical timeline that the white man has established in order for it to be legitimate, in order for it to be right. It has to give you your desired outcomes in the time frame that you say that you want it to be in order for it to be empirically valid. Okay, that's dangerous because you end up pathologizing the real organizing principles of Ifa and Orisha lifestyle. Those are the things that make it what it is. The fact that it does not limit itself to what we will call the scientific method. That's what makes Ifa Ifa. That's why you came to Ifa and didn't go, to the doctor. You went to the doctor and the doctor couldn't solve your problem. You went to the lawyer, he couldn't solve your problem. You went to the Olorisha, you went to the herbalist, you went to the Babalawo because they could solve your problem using an entirely different worldview, seeking a different set of outcomes based on a different desired outcome, which is, like I said, we're trying to help one another achieve our destinies. Sometimes what you want is not what you need, right? You're looking all over the place except for within yourself. And Ifa will help you to discover what is really inside of you, because what is inside of you is what you brought into this existence, and what you brought is what you're going to manifest, like a seed, right? If you came as an apple seed, then you're going to manifest apples, right? So you may want very desperately to use some kind of method to become an orange or a tangerine, but it's not really what's good for you, right? So the idea that Ifa has to be scientific, it has to be concrete, it has to be empirical, it has to meet the criteria and the parameters of the Western mindset is detrimental to the real desired outcome of what Ifa does. Now, this doesn't mean on the other end of the equation that you're supposed to just absolutely throw out any kind of a scientific knowledge, and you're supposed to pretend that you don't know what you know or you haven't seen what you've seen. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you have to put things into the proper perspective so that you're approaching each method with the right expectations, and you're subjecting yourself to the processes that really belong to what you're practicing. So if you're practicing science, then you adhere to the laws of science and the rules of science so that you can get what you're aspiring to through that method. But when you come to Ifa, then you adhere to the rules and the laws of Ifa, and you set your expectations according to how Ifa works and what Ifa says are the desired outcomes, what the values of Ifa are, right? Otherwise, as I said, you end up limiting and really actually minimizing, reducing the full potential of what Ifa is and what it wants to give to you, and what it has the potential to unlock for you in your life. So as you enter into the practice and you start to explore Ifa, and you study, and you have readings, and you do undergo different kinds of rituals and ceremonies, make it a real point to properly orientate yourself and align yourself with the real objectives of Ifa and the real values and the virtues of Orisha lifestyle, and accept those and look for those and celebrate those, and enjoy the unique blessings and the very particular opportunities that this particular lifestyle has to offer. Aboro aboye, aboshishe.